Hey, what's up guys, it's Mike with Reptile, back with another video today. Today is the 7th day of May Madness. It is the very beginning of Q&A Tuesday. So if you guys don't know what this is, basically what it is, every Tuesday I'll be going through your questions, or from the past Tuesday. But being as this is the first one, I asked on Instagram as well as my Facebook community tab for you guys to leave any questions that you guys had for the Q&A there. So I'll go through and answer a couple questions from Instagram as well as my community YouTube tab. So that's where I'm going to be pulling the questions from today. However, for next week's and the following weeks in May, it will be from this video for next week and then next week's video for the week after that, and I think you understand the point. So without blabbing on too much about it, if you guys are new to May Madness, I say this at the beginning of every video. It's where I make a video every single day in May. I also post an Instagram post every single day, so make sure you follow me on Instagram. Links down below as well as on screen right here. So now that I've established that, what I'm going to do is grab my phone and answer a couple of the questions for you guys. The first question comes from Veronica Gregory 04. She says, do you have a favorite dog breed or breeds? I mean, honestly, I really like Frenchies, but I know how much issues they have. I also like the standard Golden Retriever. Those are just kind of my two go-tos. I really like German Shorthairs. I really like Brittany Spaniels. There's a lot of dogs that I really like. Obviously, mutts are great as well. I pretty much like all dogs. If it's a nice tempered dog, that's good. Really tiny dogs like Chihuahuas and Shih Tzus and stuff like that, they're definitely not my favorite, but I mean, I respect them, I guess. So thank you, Veronica, for that question. Eris the Chameleon asks, how many reptiles do I have? I have 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 13, 14, 15, 19, and then I don't exactly know how many I have of the Ufaga, but we'll call it like 25 reptiles total. Austin Paleogeology asks, hey, longtime viewer here, have I finished my bio degree yet, and what are my ambitions? So actually, yes, I just graduated, like, I took my last test April 23rd, so 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, something like that. So I am done. I do graduate. I passed all my classes and passed all my tests and stuff like that. I'm going to be walking the stage June 6th to collect my little piece of paper, as well as just have a good time with some of my university friends. So that's that. I did graduate. What are my ambitions? Mostly just to kind of find a job now that's not working at a pet store. If I don't do that, then I'll probably end up going to Australia a little bit earlier. If not, yeah, I'll be working for probably a year, maybe 2, and then heading to Australia. So, yes, that is my ambitions. I guess my like real ambitions are, I'd love to find a master's project in Australia, or that deals with something in Australia. Yeah, just get a job at like a zoo or with like a biotech company or something like that. I don't really know yet, but that's the plan as of now. I'm not gonna pronounce this. It's Tom Harrison, I'm pretty sure is what it is. He says, what is something you want to get but at the moment can't? Definitely tree monitors. That's probably the top of my list right now. I would love to have tree monitors. I just don't have a big enough room to actually accommodate them. Connor Ackerman asks what my dream pet would be, and I don't really know. When you get so far into having reptiles, there's so much cool stuff out there that there's probably 10 different dream species that I'd have that I could list. One of them I have now, which is the Geomatis spangleri. Another one that I've had on my list forever is Fijian banded iguanas. They are in Canada, so I'm like, but if I'm going to be moving away, I obviously shouldn't invest in something like that. Craig Smart asks, how's the Fluviflex doing? It's doing really, really well. I'll be doing an update video on that in probably, maybe even Friday's video, probably sometime this week for you guys to check out and enjoy. That's actually all the questions I'm going to be answering from Instagram. I didn't have a ton of people ask, and a lot of them are very strange questions, so I'm going to answer a couple more from the YouTube community page. Rep Titan asks, if I could only keep one of my reptiles, which one would I keep? That's really tough. Probably the Spangleri. Probably. I think they're my favorite in the room, honestly. I'm picking favorites. It's not good. It's not good. Goose69 asks, am I still living in my mother's basement? Yeah. This is still the same room that I've been in for the past 6 or 7 years, or how long it's been down here. No shame in that. I get to save money and go on trips rather than struggling my way through paying rent. Experiences over possessions. Trent H. Dragon Tamer asks, what is one reptile that you would consider your personal dream reptile? Are you planning on ever caring for this reptile, or do you already have it? I kind of answered that question. The Geometa spangleri and the Fijian banded iguanas. But on another note, I would also love to have like an emerald tree boa, or just some snakes in general. There's quite a few really cool snakes out there that I'd like to later invest in. Until that time, until I move out and I have my own place and I'm settled down. Yeah, I think that's kind of it. Snakes. But I think when I'm at a point in my life when I can actually like buy a house, or something happens, I don't know, whatever. When I'm more permanently living in one place, I would love to have a stingray tank. Maybe an arowana in there as well. It's kind of hard to say, but yeah, I really like rays. They're super, super cool. I actually really like this question from Reeve. This isn't exactly as in the same vein as the other questions, but any tips for new people to the hobby? I've always loved Euros, done tons of research, and plan to get one soon. It would be my first reptile ever. I think my advice to like newbies or beginners in the reptile hobby would be to do as much research as you can. There's so many resources out there, from Facebook groups to online forums to online care sheets, to books, to YouTube videos. There's a ton of information out there. I know it's not always easy to kind of sift through some of the BS that you see and pick out like what's good and what's bad, but honestly, I think get a nice beginner reptile, whether it's a Eurymastix, bearded dragon, which leopard gecko, crested gecko, gargoyle gecko. A blue-tongued skink I would also consider a kind of beginner species, because they're really not very hard to handle or care for or anything like that. So those would probably be my list of things, is just kind of research and try and sift the good from the bad as best as you can. I know it's really tough. Eventually you'll kind of develop your own way of keeping things, or your own way of kind of picking information from different sources when you're doing it. So that's my advice. I might actually do a whole video on that, on just kind of like advice to a new beginner, and get some aggregate views from my friends that have been in the hobby for quite a while. So thanks for your question. That was actually a really good one. I'll answer a couple more from my YouTube community page. Mark the Reptile Boy asks, how do your friends react to your reptiles, or what do they think of them? I don't have any friends here with me now. I wish I could bring somebody in and ask them what they think, but a lot of my friends are biology, ecology, zoology nerds, so they come in here and they lose their mind. I have a couple friends from high school and stuff that respect it. They don't really care too much whether like one way or another. They know it's my thing, and they like me for who I am, so they kind of support me that way, but they're not in here like, wow, this is so cool, you know, I want to hold this, or I want to know that, or they don't really care that much. So I guess overall it's positive. So far the search for a girlfriend hasn't really turned out very well. I don't know if it's because of the reptiles, or because my life pretty much revolves around animals in one way or another. Whatever it is, there's different reactions to it. The second last question is going to be from Kayla Clayton. She asks, looking back now with all of your experiences, would you still have chosen a leopard gecko for my reverse reptile, or something different? I'm actually really happy with Striker as my first reptile. I think a bearded dragon really isn't the best reptile to start with, because I know typically if you're looking at a leopard gecko, it's between like a leopard gecko and a bearded dragon. I'm really happy I went the leopard gecko route, because I'm not a fan of bearded dragons, and I never really was. Like, I never had any interest in a bearded dragon whatsoever. Ever since the beginning, I just never was really like drawn to them like I was leopard geckos. I think it was partly because my parents were like, no, you need something small, you need something that's relatively easy to care for, and you don't want something that's going to be a giant tank. So with that said, I picked a leopard gecko. Would I change it? No, I don't think I really would. Maybe to like a crested gecko or something like that, but now I have one of those anyway, so I guess it wouldn't have really changed anything. All right, and the last question for the first Q&A Tuesday is going to be from David Nugent. He asks, would I ever want to expand and own a reptile store? The short answer is yes. I would love to own my own reptile store. I would love to do something like Brian Barczyk does and have the Reptarium. That's something that is kind of like goals. I just don't really think it's very viable in Canada, especially. It might be viable in some of the larger places like Vancouver or Toronto. Even Calgary might work. It would be really tough to kind of get off the ground because the property taxes, rent, all that kind of stuff is super, super expensive in the larger cities. It's not like the Reptarium in Michigan where I have no idea what he's paying to like maintain the building and stuff, but I know that it is probably like 5 times that in Canada just because of how expensive properties are in the larger cities. So would I love to own a reptile store? Absolutely. Do I really see myself doing something like that in the future? It's kind of hard to say. I could see myself hobby breeding in kind of my own house or in like a small kind of offset of my house, whether it's like a detached garage or a small store space that's kind of like my own. But besides that, I don't see myself owning a reptile store anytime soon. I would love to be like a co-partner on a reptile store, whether I'm just kind of like a manager or like a co-owner. That would also be awesome. But yeah, I'm not in any place right now to be kind of dropping everything and trying to open a reptile store. So I want to thank you guys very much for watching. I hope I answered your question in this video. If I did, great. If not, hopefully when you leave your comments in the comment section down below, I'll see it and I'll answer it in the next one. So I want to thank you all very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them in the comment section. If you liked the video, smash that like button, and if you want to see more of May Madness, make sure you click subscribe, as well as play Ding Dong Ditch with the doorbell next to it. That way you get notified every time I post a video. Thank you guys all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll catch you tomorrow.